Hello, everybody. It's Lachelle, America's Supermom. And today I just want to answer a quick question. What advice would I give somebody about change? This is a very thought provoking question because if you want things to be different, it requires you to change. The key element with change is knowing what you can control and what you cannot control. So when it comes to change, you may want to change your financial position, for example. But the only thing that you can control is your own spending, especially if you're in a relationship with a spouse or other people, a partner of some sort with a business. The only element that you can control is yourself. And so this is very pivotal to recognize when it comes to change because when you get motivated, when you get inspired, when you implement different practices, these practices will bring about a change, but it will happen only in measures that you can control. Now, some outcomes may be evident. So, if you are a frivolous spender and you become frugal, of course, that's going to be something that's immediate that other people may be able to witness or something of that sort. But the thing that I want you to really realize is that you may find value in making different decisions for whatever reason. However, when you're still maintaining relationships, you really have no control over the parties in the relationship if they want to change or not. And so part of dealing with change is implementing the things that you want to do for yourself and establishing a boundary so that you are able to maintain the growth that you desire while still allowing the other people that are affected to be who they are. And so this is so key because a lot of times when you decide that you are no longer going to participate, and a lot of times our behavior is negative. So if I've been a smoker, for example, and I decide I'm going to give up smoking cigarettes, you'll recognize that some of your quote unquote friends that you smoke with, your relationship will be affected with your desire to stop smoking. You may not do the same things that you used to do because smoking was a big component of that. So as a result, you have to establish a new boundary. Okay, I don't really like smoking in my car. I really don't want to smoke in certain places, so that's going to affect where you go. And so these are things that you really need to really think about because as you change, you'll get pushback a lot of times with people saying, well, you're different, you don't want to hang out anymore. But if you really examine the whole totality of the situation, you realize, well, I was smoking in my car. I was smoking in my house. I was smoking when I went to the park or all these different places. For example, I don't even know if you can smoke these places. I'm just giving that as an example that a lot of your time was consumed with this activity that you really want to get away from. And so you didn't notice that it was in all these different areas in your life. So when you decide to give it up, there's going to be a difference in your behavior, the places you go, the way you act, because you are refraining from doing this activity. And so this is important because when you change, you will get pushback, and you have to recognize what that pushback is about. That pushback is about a new relationship, new places to go that may or may not be received by the people that you're in a relationship with. So if you decide that you're not going to smoke anymore, that means every place that you go, for the most part, is going to be dealing with non-smokers, and so that will maybe make the friend who may participate in smoking feel a little uncomfortable and out of their element, because when they would usually grab a cigarette, so to speak, they really don't have any opportunity to do that based on the areas that they are now frequenting. And so this is important to keep in mind, because as you grow, it's going to require people that are related to you in some way to grow, to either give up some of the things that they were used to doing and establish a new way of doing things, or continue with what they have been doing and then recognizing a way that they can um, implement your change with them continuing to be who they are. And so I just wanted to talk about this briefly, because this doesn't have to demotivate you about changing. It just has to help you to look at things from a different perspective and recognize the situation that you're in when it comes to change. Not only is it going to affect you, but it's going to affect the people that you interact with, your relationships, the places you go, the things you do, the way you spend your money. And so these are things that we want to be mindful of when it comes to doing things differently, because it's about being patient with people who are a part of our life, and recognizing that we have to do what's best for ourselves when it comes to change, but being able to understand and get this perspective that they can decide to change if they want to change. You're still going to love them, continue to be around them. However, the dynamics of your relationship will be a little different with you moving forward in another frontier, another mindset, doing things differently. However, you don't have to allow that to hold you back with change. And so that's a lot of times something that we struggle with, is that if other people don't embrace the change, we self sabotage and go back to the way that things used to be, was familiar and old, instead of continuing to grow and pressing forward with our goals. So change is a great thing. Change, it can be liberating. However, you have to realize that the only dynamic that you can control when it comes to change is how you think, how you respond, and how you take action. And you have to be patient with those who may or may not be in agreement with the things that you're doing, and that's okay. But being able to establish a way that you can still get along, that you can create boundaries that are healthy for yourself as you move forward, and continuing to love and accept them for the way that they continue want to live their life. So that's all I have about change. I encourage you guys to keep moving forward, keep growing, keep stretching yourself, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Blessings. Bye.